As you talked about a moment ago, Coach, number 9 there in the middle of your screen, the redshirt junior, very electric, a great deep ball threat.
Yeah, he can throw the deep ball, and you know, one of the things I think he did, he put the swagger not only back into the offense, but back into this program.
Yeah, last week, he didn't have his best game against Pitt, but now this week, the visitor comes from Atlanta, the Georgia State Panthers, and their head man, Sean Elliott. The school parted ways with Trent Miles after 4 seasons, and now coming over from South Carolina, Sean Elliott's the guy.
Yeah, you know, he went to Appalachian State, and I asked him, you try to model this program after that program where you graduated? He said, yeah, and he wanted to remind us, I was on the sideline when Appalachian State upset Michigan.
And he had some pretty good guys that he was under at South Carolina. Of course, Steve Spurrier, then Will Muschamp. But he's going to face a daunting task tonight in front of over 100,000 at Beaver Stadium. Georgia State did win the toss, and Penn State will receive the football in front of the rowdy faithful. Tell you what, I got chills. That team coming out from the tunnel. Everybody, 100,000 standing. It's hard to beat what you get here under the lights in State College.
Yeah, you know, it's always exciting here in Happy Valley, but there's something just magical when you play in Beaver Stadium, the lights, all these people here, they've been waiting all day. They're ready to go. So am I, by the way.
I'm ready to go as well, Coach. We hope you're ready at home. And Penn State talked about getting Saquon Barkley the ball any way they can, and he will be the kick returner yet again this week. He'll take it from the goal line. A little electricity early. How about Saquon Barkley? Stumbling, staying on his feet, stumbling again, and getting it out shy of the 40.
Now, I want you to watch this. There's a lot of good running backs, but watch how he can lower his pads. You know, it's almost impossible. You got to shoot him out. But the way he lowers his pads and keeps moving forward, that's what makes him unique in college football.
Took the kicker, Barry Brown, to help bring him down, and now the Nittany Lions on offense at the 37 on the left hash to start things off with Barkley in the backfield alongside McSorley. And it will be Saquon Barkley trying to bounce it outside. Not a whole lot there. Pretty good pursuit by the Georgia State Panthers.
Well, if Georgia State is going to be successful on defense, that is exactly what they have to do. They have to get him to bounce, keep it lateral, because once he turns to the sideline, once he turns to the goal line, it's over.
Last week against Pitt, I was starting to reference it earlier. Not his best game. He was a little off the mark, especially early. Picked it up late. Bottom line is they cruised to a 33-14 win after losing to Pittsburgh a year ago. This time it's complete. DeAndre Tompkins has the Penn State first down, and he takes the Nittany Lions into Georgia State territory.
You know, as we watch this, one of the things that the Georgia State coaches talked about was they want to be having to play a lot of zone defense because they really fear McSorley pulling the ball down, run with it. And in zone defense, the second line of defense can keep their eyes on him.
No easy way to defend all the weapons that they have. Here's a fake and then a throw over the middle, and wide open that time, Deshaun Hamilton with his 168th career reception.
Yeah, there's too much cushion there. Those guys will just push you off all day, and I understand why. They're good, big, tall receivers that can run fast. They don't want to get beat deep.
Hamilton, a redshirt senior. What a career he's had. Again, faking to Barkley, out to Tompkins, his second catch of the game, and he's shoved down by Jerome Smith, shy of the marker. Now let's look at the Auto Owners Insurance impact players when Penn State has the football.
Well, you got to start with Saquon Barkley. He can do it all. And Mike Gesicki that I talked about before, watch him in the red zone. And Julian Laurent, the young man defensive nose guard from Canada, he has to anchor that defensive line.
Second 3, swinging it out, Barkley. Hard hit. Chandon Sullivan, their best cornerback, they say he's going to be in the NFL in a few years. Put a good pop on Barkley, but he gets up fine.
Well, they got such speed. They put it on the perimeter. An awful good throw there by McSorley. He didn't have to break stride to catch the ball, and he is alone when he gets to turn north and south.
Getting him the ball in the kick return game. Handing it off to him, of course, throwing it to him. This time it's not going to be Barkley, though. Swinging it out on the right side, and yet another catch for DeAndre Tompkins. His third reception for number 3. If you're looking for the Bowling Green Northwestern game, go to btn.com/gamefinder right now to see where you can find that game in your area. Lisa Byington on the call there alongside Chuck Long. Penn State looking for the opening drive score. Little toss out to Barkley. Inside the 15. Stepping out right around the line to gain. And it will be a first and goal for Penn State. Let's go in the huddle. Brought to you by SoFi.
Well, you look at it right here. Now watch this. You got to stop Barkley. Look at all those guys up there going to try to stop the run. But the secondary, they've got their eyes on Barkley, too. Could you be more wide open, Mike? Easy throwing catch, 8-yard touchdown. He could have gone 88 yards.
He had 2 touchdowns in that game, and he had 2 in week 1 as well. McSorley this time throwing it underneath. Inside the 5 and into the end zone. It's Tommy Stevens, the backup quarterback, getting into the end zone for 6.
Yeah, look at that blocking on the perimeter. I mean, that's why he goes untouched, and that is not an easy job out there. And they get their hands inside. They stay square. Good job by the wide receivers.
And yes, what I said is accurate. Tommy Stevens is the backup quarterback. They like to use him in all different situations. That time he was the receiver, catching it and taking it into the end zone to put Penn State up early. In a very disappointing loss, they told us, to Tennessee State.
Yeah, he got banged up, knocked out of the game, but he's back. They said he's healthy. Excited to watch him play.
His best game, by the way, was against Wisconsin when they nearly pulled off the upset last year in Camp Randall. Kyler Neal will get his first carry, the redshirt senior.
Now, offensively, they talked about they're not going to, they may go not huddle, but they're not going to go up tempo. They want to slow this game down, shorten the game, which I think is a great idea. Give that offense of Penn State limited times. Every time they have a chance to get a first down, they're going to take it.
But is that a lot easier said than done if you're Georgia State?
Well, sure it is, but I think it's a good philosophy because you want to avoid 3 and outs.
Well, they had the first down. And now they've got a 2nd and 6 after the 4-yard gain, and they will go back to the ground. Taz Bateman. So you saw Kyler Neal, you saw Taz Bateman. You'll see both of those guys in the backfield. You're going to see a lot of Manny Bowen, number 43. And the linebackers are good, and oh yeah, just really the entire secondary is good. How about those pass breakups?
Well, you know, you need them all when you think about these guys. And the thing about it is, we talked about Brent Price, said, where can you get better? He says, I want these guys to go attack the ball in the air. I don't want them to wait, try to knock it down. Go attack it, see if you can pick it off.
They're great at corner and safety. Great, as we mentioned, at linebacker, of course. Linebacker U. They feel like they're back to that moniker. Bateman, big hole. Across the 50, down near the 45. And a lot of running room that time for number 8, Taz Bateman.
Well, you know, they accomplished what they wanted to do. They caught Penn State angling. You saw it. The defensive tackle went inside. The linebacker went outside. That was a missed assignment because that B gap was wide open. But that's a confidence builder for Georgia State right now. Moving the ball. All of a sudden they'll come out and say, these guys are not unblockable.
14-yard gain on that last play for Bateman. Now Connor Manning. He completes it to Bateman out of the backfield. So you're right, they're really building some confidence. Good rhythm so far.
Well, they did a good job. They brought the outside linebacker off air on the inside receiver, and the left tackle. He came late. Left tackle saw him, picked him up, gave Manning enough time to throw the ball. Give me throw it into the boundary. Good play. You need some patience if you're Georgia State. Go for those first downs. That's why I said I think that's really good philosophy.
And as you highlighted, taking their time. Flag comes in before the snap. And we're going to get the first words of the evening from our game referee, Don Willard. Here he is.
False start. Offense number 50. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
So that is on Jamal Paxton. That's something to watch because Paxton is at center. Their regular starting center for Georgia State, Gabe Mobley, has moved over to right guard because Pat Bartlett is out, and it's the backup center with the first penalty.
A lot of offensive linemen are interchangeable. I never like switching that center in there. Makes all the calls, pass protection, and he's responsible for the snap.
Second and 10, empty backfield. Slinging it out to the right side, gets those yards right back as Glenn Smith hauls it in. Smith is a very versatile weapon for the Georgia State Nittany Lions, or Georgia State Panthers, and on the other side for the Nittany Lions, there's defensive coordinator Brent Pry.
Yeah, it was a pleasure meeting with him yesterday, and he explained everything that he wanted to do. In big part, I talked to him about their success against Pitt. He said, we were very successful in our disguise coverage and confused Pitt a number of times.
They need 6 yards on third down. Batted in the air and complete. Great coverage by Christian Campbell. We were just discussing the pass breakups and how they're improved this year. That's a prime example right there.
Yeah, a little slant route. He broke on the ball nicely. He got his left arm in front to knock the ball down. No pass interference. Look at that. Timed it perfectly.
Christian Campbell getting the start for John Reed, cornerback who injured his knee in the spring. Campbell has been thrust into the starting role and done a really good job for James Franklin. And they are going to go for it. 8th play of the drive. 4th and 6. Whistles and a timeout.
Prior to the snap, first charge, timeout of the half.
So Sean Elliott takes the first timeout with 7:52 left in the first quarter. No, they're going to punt it. They changed. They brought the punter out there. That's why they called the timeout. They switched personnel, and DeAndre Tompkins is back to return the low kick. Tompkins is going to let it bounce, and this is going to turn out great for Georgia State. So the decision to call the timeout and punt it proves fruitful as the Panthers down it at the 1-yard line.
Yeah, I think they called timeout because Brent Pry was coming with a blitz. The linebacker walked up, and head coach standing on the sideline, he looks out there and says, we can't pick that up. Timeout.
And credit a nice rugby-style punt that time from Oliver Holdenson. So last drive, 8 plays, 63 yards and a touchdown for Penn State. Now their second offensive drive starting.
Offensively, the minimal goal when you get the ball here is you got to get at least 1 first down to give your punter room to punt the ball.
Back in their end zone, McSorley with Barkley on his left. And he's going to pass it. Here comes pressure. And he just slings it away toward the Georgia State sideline. Second down.
Watch him move his feet. I think this is really a heads-up play because you look, he moves. He's really not under pressure, but that little clock in his head goes off because he doesn't know who's coming from the backside. Throw it out of bounds. Heads up.
He was 6 of 6 passing the ball on the first drive. That's The inaugural incompletion for the redshirt junior from Ashburn, Virginia, Trace McSorley. And this time they'll go with Barkley, but he barely gets out of the end zone. Coming up and almost getting a safety, McKindy Cherador, one of their very good defensive ends for Georgia State.
Yeah, you can see it right here. He bounces to the outside, but there's inside penetration, and they were very fortunate not to get tackled in the end zone.
Last week it was Penn State getting a safety against Pitt in that lopsided victory over the Panthers. The other Panthers from Georgia State almost returned the favor. Now it's 3rd down and 9 in the shadows of their own goalpost. McSorley underneath, it's complete. He's got Gesicki. So Mike Gesicki, the preseason All-American, bails out McSorley, 1st down.
Yeah, well, he improvises real nice here. There's nothing initially, and he keeps the ball alive, and he keeps his eyes downfield, and he finds his tight end. Not like you draw it up, but very effective.
It worked nonetheless. Barkley looking for space. Beginning of last year, I remember I had the Minnesota game here, Coach, and they were saying Barkley dances a little too much east-west. They wanted to get up and hit the hole. But when you've got an explosive back like that who can read and wait, do you want to mix a both?
Well, he's got that ability. You know, the thing about it is you coach against that, but, you know, sometimes when he looks like that and goes and it's a big game, you say, well, that's pretty good. Other times you say, hit it on up in there.
Revisionist history.
Don't overcoach a great player.
Oh, a fumble on a handoff to Robinson. So they gave Barkley a spell. They tried to hand it off to Andre Robinson, and the exchange wasn't clean. Luckily, though, Penn State jumps on it.
Well, you look at it right here, and it didn't look like McSorley really seated it into the pocket. There was more on his hip.
And with all the RPO stuff that Penn State does with their offense, can it be tough on those exchanges sometimes,
Sure.
I would imagine.
Just a different form of option football.
So now 3rd down. And as the pocket collapses, McSorley rolling and just burying it into the ground. So Georgia State's defense stands, and Penn State will have to punt.
Great thing about football, you know, the first series, Penn State took the ball down there, 8 plays, flawless, right? We were being critical. One bad play, it only gained 2 yards. Other than that, it was perfect. He couldn't do anything right in this series.
Bateman, the very good running back, waits to return it. And Blake Gillikin, who had such a great game punting the football last week against Pitt, stands back inside his own 10. Gets away another dandy. Bateman backing up and taking the fair catch right around the 27. 7-0 Penn State, 1st quarter. Friday night, BTN is the place to be for every Nittany Lions fan. At 7 p.m. Eastern, Big Ten Elite 2016 Penn State football. It'll chronicle the unforgettable moments from last year's championship season. Then at 8 p.m., Penn State hosts Nebraska in volleyball. It all starts next Friday at 7 Eastern right here on BTN. Georgia State stopping Penn State on defense, now taking over on offense, and Taz Bateman will get a few yards on the 1st down carry.
Yeah, thus far early in the game, I'm impressed by the offensive line of Georgia State, because you talk about a mismatch from a physical standpoint. Those offensive linemen against that defense doing a pretty darn good job.
Andy Bowen, number 43, came in there late on the tackle. He better be careful. He could get flagged for that. Yeah, you talked about the offensive line looking better for Georgia State. They were bad in week 1. They only rushed for 49 yards in that loss to Tennessee State in the opener. Then they had a bye last week, did the Panthers. And a nice hole here and a 1st down carry. So Taz Bateman's getting in an early groove.
Yeah, you got to credit Taz on that one, because there was penetration, missed block in the backfield. He made the first guy miss, and good game.
9 yards on the carry.
Yeah, watch there. I mean, he's dead to rights right there, and he plants. He goes to the outside. And
31 yards for him on 4 carries. So the rushing attack much better than it was 2 weeks ago for Georgia State. Connor Manning hands it off.
And up to Penny Hart.
And it's Penny Hart, their most explosive playmaker. They throw him the ball. They hand it to him on sweeps and motions. And he got a good block here to get a 5-yard gain.
Timeout for an injury on the field.
You're going to see Campbell come flying in there, trying to take the block on and make the tackle.
On that block by Kyler Neal, Torrance Brown is down for the Nittany Lions.
Full timeout on the field.
7-0 Penn State first quarter, but right now the concern is for Torrance Brown, redshirt junior defensive end. On that last play, Kyler Neal was blocking for Georgia State and hit the knee of Torrance Brown, and they're going to put him on the cart. Unfortunately for the Nittany Lion crew, this does not look good for Brown. Very concerned teammates. One of the experienced leaders on that side of the football that has been so good to start this season.
You watch it right here. He's trying to make a play, and watch his right knee. He gets hit low there, and good clean hit. Just sometimes you can't see it coming from the side, and those things happen. Let's hope he's okay.
All the ups and downs for this defense early and middle part of last year. So many injuries, particularly at linebacker. They persevered, rattled off all those wins, won the Big Ten, got to the Rose Bowl. Like you said, Coach, hopefully Torrance Brown is okay. As we resume play, Georgia State hanging in early. Only their 8th year of football, 5th year at the FBS level. Program that started back in 2010. They go smash mouth there up the middle. Ryan Buchholz with a tackle of Taz Bateman.
Yeah, that type of defensive line play is what Brett Pry, the defensive coordinator, expects. They're physically superior to the Georgia State offensive line. If you control that line of scrimmage where there's no movement there, tough way to go.
Certainly a size advantage for Brett Pry and that defense. Georgia State 1 for 2 on 3rd down so far in this contest. They need 3. They'll shovel it out. It's on the ground. But Bateman was able to jump on it and avoid disaster. It does bring up 4th.
This Penn State is an attacking defense. They don't sit back and wait on anything. They're going to force you to do something right now. And you can see they come with the option. He gets the pitch read, and they can't handle the pitch. But I want to tell you, Jason Kabinda was right out there. He'd have made the play for a loss anyway.
Penn State now 24 tackles for a loss. They led the nation coming into this game with 23 tackles for a loss through the first 2 weeks. Oliver Holdenson punting it away to DeAndre Tompkins. And it will check up between the 20 and the 15. So the Nittany Lions will come back out on offense. And the wide receivers, they haven't really been a big story so far this season into tonight.
Yeah, they're awful good, and they got some receptions, but no touchdowns. You think about what's happening. We talked about the tight end and the running back. They're awful good, too, and they're getting receptions, and they're getting all the glory, the scores.
Well, the first score of the game came from the backup quarterback, Tommy Stevens, who caught the pass from Trace McSorley and ran it in. Delayed give. Shy of the 20. Barkley tackled by Martirius Allen, who's a very good defensive end for Georgia State.
You know, you mentioned Tommy Stevens. When we were meeting with the coaches the other day, Coach Franklin says we're going to have a package for Stevens. You know, not that he's coming in necessarily quarterback, because McSorley's going to be in the game too. And I think that's a really good idea, because he's given him valuable playing experience getting on the field in case they need him at quarterback.
And if you're prepping for that on the other side, you hate it, right? I mean, it's just another thing you have to think about.
He's awful good, and he can throw the ball.
Pumps once, fires, batted down, almost intercepted. Trying to get it to DeAndre Tompkins, but it was Trajan Stevens-McQueen, the true freshman from Charlotte, North Carolina, that wanted the pick.
Yeah, he has good protection, and he sees the receiver he thinks is open. I don't know how he missed that white shirt right in front of him there. The 51's a 6'1", 225-pound guy. You think you'd spot him?
McSorley, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions so far on the season. So 3rd and 7. Not as dominant in the first quarter so far as the 100,000 plus would have hoped here. And this is a flag, and it's going to be against the offense.
False start. Offense, number 59. 5-yard penalty remains, 3rd down.
Penn State's been very good at not creating penalties, not on their own, not having penalties. Pretty good at creating penalties against their opponent. Unforced error.
And that time it was on Andrew Nelson, who they're trying to work back into lineup. Very experienced redshirt senior coming back from injury. But that time he costs him 5 yards, and he makes it 3rd and 12. McSorley throwing back to the left to Barkley. Look out! Saquon Barkley! Can he go the distance? Yes, he can! Touchdown, Penn State! Coach.
How do you defend that? I don't have any idea. I told you number 26 was good. Wow.
Georgia State had everyone in pursuit, and I thought he's not going to be able to beat them all, but certainly Barkley did. Tyler Davis puts the extra point through. On 3rd and long, go to your star. McSorley to Barkley. And he does the rest. Penn State up by 2 scores thanks to that man sitting down trying to catch his breath. And that guy, Trace McSorley, who threw him the ball. But the short pass on 3rd and 12, it was really all Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you who's sick right now. Chris Ash, the head coach of Rutgers, is sitting home watching that. You know, Saquon initially had committed to Rutgers until Coach Franklin came here. And, you know, he ends up coming here for a unique reason.
Touchback in the end zone. Yeah, so originally, like you said, going to Rutgers, off to Piscataway. Coach Franklin comes in, commits to Penn State later, and boy, you think that that's turned out okay for the Nittany Lions?
Well, yeah, you know, Coach Franklin said that his wide receiver from college just happened to be Saquon Barkley's position coach in high school, and he called him up and said, "You got to take this guy." He was right.
Let's go down for more to Elise.
Brandon, earlier this week, Georgia head coach Sean Elliott said that in order to bring down Saquon Barkley, it's going to take a team effort. He said no one can tackle Saquon alone, so we're going to have to tackle low around the waist. You can't go high, and the guys have to play their assignments. But if you can't catch him, guys, you're not going to be able to tackle him.
Elise, you stole my thunder. I was going to say, but you have to catch him first, and they could not there. Penny Hart getting the ball for his 3rd time. 2 receptions and 1 carry for the redshirt sophomore from Buford, Georgia.
Now, I don't know how McSorley sees him. He's running to his right. He throws it all the way back to his left. I mean, that was not a design play, like a throwback to the running back on a wheel route or anything. They just improvised, and they ought to put that play in the playbook, though.
It's good when you have guys who can improvise for an 85-yard touchdown. Connor Manning trying to settle in for Georgia State. As Bateman, he's been good on the ground so far and pretty good there on first down, getting 4 yards before he's brought to the ground by Sharif Miller.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing about Bateman. You know, he's not the tallest guy. He's 5'8", but he hits that hole hard. If there's a little crease there, he's going to get some good yards.
7 carries, 33 yards for Bateman as the first quarter clock expires. So far, it's all Nittany Lions. Tommy Stevens gets in for one, and then Barkley from 85 yards. Nittany Lions after one, and in between the quarters, they honored the women's rugby team for winning the 2017 national championship. Great accomplishment by them.
Sure is. I tell you, I've watched rugby play. Whoever plays that game is tough.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
Yeah, there's a reason I didn't play that. That's for certain. Georgia State, second down and 6 to start quarter number 2 in Happy Valley. Manning. He's going to launch one. High arcing. Incomplete. In the direction of Penny Hart, but he overshot it. And what are they eating? Well, first, you got to give them props for painting their entire bodies. And now they're eating chicken fingers and fries. You got to keep your energy up.
It is great to be a college student.
Isn't it, though?
I want to go back to college. I really do. I don't want to study anything. I just want to go back to college.
We had fun the last couple days on campus. A lot of energy here.
We've been back to college.
Yeah, that's right. They just won't let us in class. Here comes the blitz, setting up a screen, and they'll get the first down to Bateman. That worked out well, all the way to the 50.
Yeah, exactly the right call versus the defense. Here, Penn State's going to come with a maximum blitz. They're bringing linebackers. They're bringing the corner. You have the screen. It's a great call against a blitzing defense. Good execution, first down.
Connor Manning is 5 of 7. I guess I should address the elephant in the room. No relationship to Peyton Manning or Eli or Archie or Cooper. Hand off to Taz Bateman. Bateman's been Mr. Do-It-All, catching it, running it, and he'll get 3 there on first down.
I mentioned it before, but the thing that jumps out about you about number 8, Bateman, he's quick.
They say that he is definitely the quicker of the 2 backs. We only have seen Kyler Neal for 1 carry. And for the others, it's been all number 8, Taz Bateman, who missed last year with an injury. So Georgia State in Nittany Lion territory. And that's complete to Hart, but shy of the first down marker. So that will bring up third down. Nice tackle defensively by Troy Apke.
They're getting a lot of blitz here. That you wouldn't think you're going to get a maximum blitz because they got burned last time. If I'm Georgia State, I've got to go. You know what I would do? I would come with a slant and go route because you've been coming with the slant. You've been pretty effective. You know that Penn State is stingy as all get out. Go with the slant and go and see if you can hit the home run.
Timeout before the snap.
First charge, timeout of the half. Penn State.
Penn State takes it, and we will step aside with them. State by 2 scores. There's a look at the corner of Allen and College Avenues here in State College. Next Saturday, speaking of being on college campuses, BTN Tailgate is back, and on campus at Purdue is the pregame show for Big Ten fans. Gets you ready for the Wolverines and Boilermakers and the rest of a busy day as well. BTN Tailgate presented by Geico next Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern right here on BTN. Michigan and Purdue both with wins today. How about Purdue going into Missouri and winning 35-3? Jeff Bromere off to a pretty good start in West Lafayette. Connor Manning to pass it. And he's got Kyler Neal. Did he bring it in? They say no. He was juggling it as he fell out of bounds. He could not catch it.
Wide open. And a slant and a flat. Yep. Good call. Officials right on the spot.
That's frustrating if you're Georgia State driving, trying to eat into this lead.
The formula you talked about, move the chain, slow it down, limit the number of reps that Penn State has on offense.
This Penn State defense, by the way, so far this season now has allowed 1 touchdown in 30 possessions against them. So that's pretty good if you're scoring at home. Sliding to catch it, DeAndre Tompkins. So, of course, by rule, he is down right where he caught it. Penn State ranked 5th in the country, and they've got some company in the Big Ten Conference, don't they, Coach?
Yeah, they do. And, you know, some teams are playing better than others. Penn State playing awful well. Michigan got a much-needed, win today. And Wisconsin did a heck of a job out in Provo against BYU. And Ohio State bounced back against Army.
Caught a lot of that Michigan Air Force game. Michigan looked good at times. Air Force was impressive. A lot of good action today across the network.
It'll be interesting to see the game you talked about down in West Lafayette, Purdue against Michigan. We'll find out what kind of job Jeff Brom has done.
Because the only loss was a narrow loss to Louisville in week 1 for them. McSorley has time to set up shop, and guess what? It's Barkley. Can he do it again? Oh, he stepped out of bounds. His 85-yard touchdown reception earlier was the 3rd longest touchdown reception in Penn State history. And he almost had a longer one there.
Yeah, just a wheel route out of the backfield. You better know where 26 is. And, if anything, you saw the outside backer. He underestimated the speed at 26. I want to tell you something. He's fast.
Just could not stay in bounds. Stepping out this time, it's not going to be Barkley. It's Miles Sanders, and he'll have a first down gain. Behind Barkley, they've got Robinson, Sanders, Allen, and that time Miles Sanders picking up the first.
That was the other term that Joe Moore had used, an embarrassment of talent. He's out.
Now going back to the previous Barkley reception. You mentioned it earlier, but I love what Joe Moorhead said. I asked him, how do you spread the ball around? He said, I wish we had more than one football.
Sometimes it looks like they do.
It is a good problem to have, though. It's still Sanders out there, not Barkley this time. Open inside the 15. Jumping in. Touchdown, Deshaun Hamilton. The redshirt senior with his 10th career touchdown reception.
Yeah, you just can't give Trace McSorley that much time with that much of talent. And running back, tight end, wide receivers. You'll find somebody open and you'll pay.
A 3-score lead for the Nittany Lions. And Deshaun Hamilton now with 169 career receptions. Extra point good, James Franklin. May not be smiling, but trust me, he's happy. 21-0 after this connection. McSorley to Hamilton. Scores, there's reason to celebrate in the crowd. Right now they're singing Sweet Caroline with 11:44 left in the second quarter. Georgia State wanted to limit big plays with that last drive. 44 yards, 15 yards, and then this 27-yard play.
Oh, they got so many weapons, as I mentioned. You give him time. McSorley's good enough. He's going to find somebody. And when he finds them, they know what to do with it.
Earlier we discussed how the receivers for Penn State hadn't found their way into the end zone yet this year, but Deshaun Hamilton changed that right there. So cool with the cell phones lit up as the kickoff comes. And Glenn Smith will go down to a knee. They're still singing Sweet Caroline.
Yeah.
What a sight.
Yeah, Neil Diamond, eat your heart out, baby. You know, you mentioned Glenn Smith. We haven't called his name yet, but he's a dangerous player for them, and they like to get the ball to him. He's a wide receiver. He's a running back, and if they're going to make any move in this game, they got to figure out how to get the ball to him.
Yeah, they've had their one playmaker, Penny Hart. They've gotten him the football quite often, number 18. But you're right, Coach. Number 17, Glenn Smith, really hasn't seen any action. And he caught the ball but had a touchback on that last kickoff. So out to the 25 for the Panthers. Bateman swarmed by those Nittany Lions. Connor Manning trying to get something going for Georgia State, who's really, they moved the ball okay. 89 yards of offense, 48 rushing, 44 passing, but nothing to show for it in the points category.
Well, they dropped the ball for the first down, and then it goes back the other way for a touchdown.
Off play action. He had Penny Hart, just threw it wide of his target. Let's go to Mike Hall now in Chicago for a studio update.
Brandon and Glenn, the game on your BTN alternate channel at home is Northwestern Bowling Green. That's Bennett Skoranek, his second touchdown catch of the day. The Cats are piling it on. It's 28-7 in the second right now.
So a 21-point lead there and a 21-point lead here in Happy Valley.
Yeah, a lot of people, including me, saying, what's wrong with the Cats? You know, they were my dark horse pick in the West, and just like last year, they started off awful slow.
Sean Elliott patrolling the sidelines, hoping that his crew has something here for 3rd and 7. A timeout before the snap. The noise getting to Connor Manning and the rest of his offensive crew.
30 seconds in right.
Time now for our United States Marine Corps leader of the game, and it's Penn State senior cornerback Grant Haley, who actually hails from Atlanta, Georgia, where Georgia State plays their football. But advertising and PR major, great GPA, two-time academic All-Big Ten. Played baseball in high school. Strong kid, worked out for some Major League Baseball teams. There's a look at him there in his baseball uniform back in the day. Volunteers at local elementary schools. And his high school football coach, by the way, was Mike Muschamp. And that's Will Muschamp's brother at the Lovett School in Atlanta, Georgia. Great kid, Grant Haley. Now the 3rd down play, incomplete. Connor Manning unable to connect it to Devin Gentry. And Elise, you've got a little bit more on Mr. Haley, don't you?
I do, Brandon. I did some investigative reporting. I asked Haley, you know, tell me something about yourself that people don't really know or haven't heard. I'm asking the real hard-hitting questions. He says, I call myself the Renaissance man because I like to do it all. I said, so what do you do? He said, after the Rose Bowl last year, I bought myself a guitar and taught myself how to play. Still working on some songs, guys. But also, in addition to that, he's writing a book. So he really is doing it all.
Wow. I can't even make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. This guy's writing books in college.
I thought I was a Renaissance man.
You are a Renaissance man, Coach.
I'm reading a book.
Fair caught on the low punt by DeAndre Tompkins. And the Nittany Lions will bring that offense back out there and try and further this lead. And with 10:53 still to go in the second quarter. All right, you're Georgia State at this point. What can you do? What are you trying to get here? Just anything?
Well, the thing about you got to go back to say, for us to have a chance, we have to prevent the big play. Now, they haven't done that. But if you get out of what you're doing, there might be a lot more big plays coming.
That man's had several big plays. Trace McSorley already over 230 yards, 3 touchdowns. Penn State's had an 85-yard play, 44, 27, a 20-yard play. Meanwhile, Georgia State hasn't had a play over 15 yards yet in this contest. Complete to Deshaun Hamilton. He had the touchdown reception on the last play for Penn State.
Well executed first down play. You know, what you try to do on offense is always get 4 or more yards on first down, and then the defense is at a disadvantage.
They were able to get 5. Trips to the left. Flag before the snap. Here's Don Willard.
False start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
That one's on the guard, Steven Gonzalez, and James Franklin was shaking his head.
Building smart back to the 36.
Man, I don't see it.
Steven Gonzalez, normally the left guard, but Brendan Mann not playing, so he moved to right guard tonight. That time, good defense, good pursuit by the Panthers as Saquon Barkley has nowhere to go. Hardrick Willis was leading the gang tackling for Georgia State. One of the reasons you know that football is back here as you look at the full house. I said, you know, Coach Franklin, last year you got off to the slow start. Things weren't the best, 2-2. And he said, you know how I know we're back? Because people are saying, why are we only getting 102,000 to the game against Georgia State? It seats right around 107. You know you're spoiled when you're worried about 102,000 coming to your game.
Yeah, more people are calling for tickets, too.
McSorley buying time. Oh, he overthrew that. It's incomplete, not intercepted. Trying to haul it in and curl it off the ground was Brian Williams, the safety, but he could not.
Not a good decision at all. You know, you can't, you're on your scramble. You got to run that football, but you hear me talk about all the time. You throw back across the middle late, more often than not, bad things happen.
Williams could have had that ball.
Interception, first down, Georgia State.
And they just said it was an interception by Brian Williams.
It was an interception, plays under further review.
And of course, in this situation, you're going to get a review. They're going to have to take another look. But important, Coach, that the ruling was interception now on the field.
I think it hit the grass or the turf, whatever you want to call it there. I think it went right through his arms on the ground. That's they're going to overturn this.
That's clear to us here in the booth. Dick Honig, I'm guessing you saw it the same way here.
You guys got it right on. That ball went right through his arms, laying on the ground underneath his stomach. It is an incompleted pass.
Dick, 2 of the officials came in with a different call. In that case, is it just get together, discuss it, and then make a decision on it?
That's what they should do, absolutely. There is a primary and a secondary. I'm not sure which one called which, but you need to get together. But automatically, if they can't, you're going to get a review as we did in this situation.
Lucky to have Dick Honig again this year, 22 years as a Big Ten official. That's why James Franklin is saying, I saw him say incomplete.
It seems like everybody is, except the guys watching the TV down there.
Sean Elliott, first-year head coach for Georgia State, hoping that it stands, but as we've seen, that is not likely to be the case.
Everybody's ready to play except the officials.
The longer that they look over there, they're checking the spot, making sure that they've got everything correct. That is typically a sign of a reversal. But one of the few mistakes that Trace McSorley has made in this game. On that last play, here's Don Willard. Now he's ready.
After further review, the ball hit the ground. It is an incomplete pass. It'll be 4th down and 11 at the 35-yard line. Clock is correct.
So Brian Williams does not get credit for the interception.
I wish we had a replay when Dick Honig was still officiating. Hope he didn't hear that.
So on 4th down, they will have to punt, will Penn State. Blake Gillikin going to take a nice Penn State bounce. Bateman picks it up. Was able to get a little out of the return. Near the 25. 21-0, Nittany Lions. Penn State trying to get to 3-0 before conference play starts next week. And they've been pretty good so far. 3 touchdown passes by Trace McSorley, 21-0.
Get a signal, get away.
Penn State coming back out there for defense. Want to circle back and mention that Torrance Brown went out with an apparent knee injury earlier. The defensive end for Penn State was carted off the field, and we have not been given an update. In fact, we were told we will not be given an update for the rest of this game, so we don't know anymore, or else we would pass it along to you at home. Connor Manning taking back over for Georgia State. Redshirt senior from Lake Forest, California, takes a shotgun snap. Rolls right off play action, and he gets picked. Intercepted by Grant Haley. He had an interception and a sack against Pittsburgh last week, and he gets his 2nd pick of the season here tonight.
Yeah, Connor Manning, that was a gift. He had a receiver wide open, and he wasn't under any pressure. In fact, he broke contain. You can see right here, he throws it right to the defender.
Talked about Grant Haley being from Atlanta, where Georgia State is located. And the first interception of the season for Connor Manning. Not a good one. So now that Penn State defense has allowed only 1 touchdown in 31 possessions defended so far this season. Miles Sanders bouncing it to the outside. Look at him go! If not Barkley, why not Miles Sanders? Sanders, a 5-star recruit from a couple of years ago, 29 yards to the house.
Yeah, watch McSorley. He can run, he can pass, he can block. Watch him right here. Man, that's pretty impressive. Heads up.
Putting the shoulder into Michael Shaw and springing Miles Sanders free. And the lead expands. Barkley's been in the end zone. Miles Sanders this time from 29 yards away. Is rolling in Happy Valley, 28-0. They have 5 plays of over 20 yards. It has been an explosive offensive performance.
You know, I wonder if singing is a prerequisite into getting into Penn State, because when they sing, they're good.
Yeah, that time it was Living on a Prayer they were singing before the kickoff. They were amped up. They tailgated all day, as Glenn Smith will have to go down to a knee. Big day next Saturday on the Family Networks. Another great slate of Big Ten football on BTN and Fox Sports. Some of the nation's most prominent programs on display, and it all gets underway with BTN Tailgate at 10 a.m. Eastern on BTN, FS1, and Fox, or streaming live on BTN To Go and Fox Sports Go. Bottom game should be interesting. Notre Dame, Michigan State. A lot of good games coming up.
The one in Lincoln may be real interesting. And we're going to be there
for Rutgers at Nebraska next week. Our crew here on BTN. Nebraska upset today at home. Tough loss in Lincoln. That tells the story. 237 passing yards to just 44 for Georgia State. Connor Manning will try to change that. Instead, he hands it off. Not much on the ground for Taz Bateman. In fact, nothing. 2nd and 10.
That was an interesting blitz. I don't know if I've ever seen it. The outside linebacker started coming off the inside receiver, and the safety that came up to cover that guy, he came also.
And it worked.
Yeah. When you think you've seen it all.
Stick around.
Hold on.
Here comes pressure again, and a flag on the backside of this play. Pass well over the head of Penny Hart. This might be a penalty on number 2, Marcus Allen.
Yeah, I think they're going to get Marcus for legal use of hands or grabbing.
Pass interference. Defense number 2. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
And it is on Marcus Allen, the man they called the heartbeat of their locker room.
Watch it right. See, that was that play that I was talking about. Slant and go, and he grabbed him because he knew he was beat. Smart move by Marcus Allen.
First down. Manning being pursued this time. He's able to connect as he finds Todd Boyd. First reception for the senior tonight. So a 17-yard gain on this nice grab.
Yeah, ball thrown behind him. He's sliding, but he holds on to it, gets his hand under it.
So Manning has been a little inaccurate at times, and that was the case in that Week 1 game where they had the frustrating loss to Tennessee State at home. When they opened their new stadium where the Atlanta Braves used to play, Turner Field, the Braves moved, and Georgia State took over that complex. But opened it up with a loss, and struggling here tonight at State College. Deep ball, and that one well over the head of the intended target.
Yeah, you know, and I asked Sean Elliott in our phone conversation the other day, why did you decide to go there, help build this program, and take on the likes of Alabama, Wisconsin, and now Penn State? He said, well, first of all, great support and commitment by the administration. The president of Georgia State just happens to be a Penn State graduate, by the way. And he said, I had a relationship with the AD, and I really believe in the guy. We'll get it done.
Yeah, and he said they are all committed to turning this football program into a winner eventually. Screen to the outside at Samir Jones, and then Jones got popped at the end of that by Marcus Allen.
Marcus Allen, along with Jake Cooper on the stop for the Nittany Lions. Gain of 5 to the 37.
So 3rd down and 5 coming up for Georgia State.
You would think this would be 4-down territory. Pick something up here, get it 4th and short, and we'll go for it. Might go for it anyway.
So loud. They practice this week by pumping in music and crowd noise back at home in Atlanta. But it's hard to simulate, and here's the flag for a delay of game.
Third and final charge. Timeout of the half. Georgia State. It's a 30-second timeout.
So the flag came in, but apparently the timeout came in just before. And they do call the timeout with 6:56 left of the first half. Big first half lead for Penn State. Brandon Gaudin with Glenn Mason here in the booth, and down on the sidelines we've rejoined Elise Miniker.
Hi, Brandon. I've been watching Connor Manning the whole game because offensive coordinator Travis Trickett told us that Manning is a very emotional guy, that he really wants him to learn to put that emotion in the right direction. He'd like him to be steady Eddie today, and quite frankly, that's exactly what I've seen. The only frustration I just saw was before the break when he couldn't get the play off.
He's 8 for 15 so far, make it 9 for 16, and he picks up the first down, getting it to Kyler Neal. So a nice job there, calm under pressure. Connor Manning picks up the first down.
The Nittany Lions 25.
Yeah, Connor Manning, he looks like Trace McSorley here. Look at he uses his feet, avoids the rush, finds someone out of the backfield. Big play.
Tyler Neal, the redshirt senior, able to pick up the first down, and Georgia State keeps the possession alive. This time an option. Ooh, he threw it behind Tyler Neal. They're just lucky that Neal was able to hold on to that.
Yeah, that's twice now that they've run the option. Got the pitch read, got the pitch out there, but it was a bad pitch. When you pitch that ball, you got to put it ahead of the ball carrier. You put it behind him. Hard to handle, number one, and he can't see downfield. Plus, here comes the defense.
Yeah, Shaka Tony was coming fast in pursuit, the redshirt freshman. That puts the Panthers behind the sticks. Takes a give to Bateman, intercepted by Marcus Allen. Allen cutting it outside. All the way to the 25. A 50-yard return off the pick for the senior from Upper Marlboro, Maryland, Marcus Allen.
Yeah, he's coaching him up on the sideline. Watch this right here. He sees something, he goes to throw it. No! You got to get a linebacker in your way. Then Marcus Allen says, hey, listen, we got skill on offense. We got skill on defense, too. Look at this. Man, he looks like a ball carrier here.
Second interception for Manning in this game. What do you think, shot for the end zone?
Let's go for the home run. Sudden change right now. They're back on their heels. Let's go for the 7.
Certainly has weapons. Number 5, Deshaun Hamilton, bottom of your screen. He had a touchdown reception earlier, as did Barkley to his left. Off play action. He is going for the end zone. Flag comes in. We had 2 flags. A flag around the line of scrimmage and then a flag in the end zone. So they've got to sort out a couple of things here. The target was Mike Gesicki.
Oh, surprise. I'd hold him too.
There are fouls on both teams. Holding. Offense number 59. Pass interference. Defense number 20. Those fouls offset. First down.
I think the crowd only saw the interference flag, so they were a little miffed by that.
Okay, watch it right there. Watch his hands. Oh, yeah, he pulled him down. Then he throws it up right here, and you can see he's all over Mike.
So offsetting penalties. That's the second penalty, by the way, on right tackle Andrew Nelson, who, as I mentioned earlier, they're trying to work back into this groove. Played 21 snaps last week. Here's a little option out to the right side. And McSorley ultimately keeps it. That's that special package. Backup quarterback Tommy Stevens, number 2, was out there with McSorley.
Yeah, here's their version of the triple option. You got Barkley going up the middle. Here comes McSorley. He's pitching it. Oh, you got to take care of the pitch back, so he keeps it up there. Pretty well executed. Man, they got a lot of things to protect.
Tommy Stevens, if you weren't with us in the first quarter, he had the opening touchdown of the game for Penn State. Barkley hit the backfield. And he's dropped. Michael Shaw was there. So was McKindy Cherador, number 5. Good job defensively.
You know, you go back to that pass interference on Gesicki. Well, you're going to see it right here. You got penetration. Linebacker shoots the gap, and another guy coming. But when they split him out on a defensive back, remember, he's 6'6", 250 pounds. Now, he's very skilled, but it's just a total mismatch.
Pocket collapses. McSorley steps up, goes underneath for the first down to Juwan Johnson. Juwan Johnson only had 2 receptions last year. This is his 6th reception of 2017. And that's what McSorley provides, as you were discussing, Coach, that escapability.
Yeah, I think he becomes more dangerous when he starts moving his feet, when you rush him out of the pocket, because it puts so much pressure on the back end.
Is he going to give to Barkley here? No, he's going to keep it. They bid on the fake, and Trace McSorley gets into the end zone. An 8-yard touchdown run for number 9.
We talked in the open how talented they are. They have talent across the board on offense.
They all crashed down on Barkley, which is understandable. McSorley pulled it, went around the edge. And the interception by Marcus Allen was what set it up. And it is all Penn State. McSorley showing the wheels. After the interception, quick 4-play, 25-yard drive for Penn State to make it 35-0. Marcus Allen, number 2, had that interception, setting up the short field.
Big plays, turnovers. When you're an underdog, hard to overcome it.
Week 1, they had 4 turnovers. Did Georgia State, and they said that's something we cannot do on the road, but unfortunately they have done it here on the road. Stay tuned for the Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report. Dave Revson, Jerry DiNardo, Howard Griffith. They'll be along from our Chicago studio and get you caught up on all the games and news in the Big Ten today. Connor Manning will try to settle back down. Sean Elliott just hoping for anything in this final 3:26 of the second quarter to take into the locker room.
Yeah, you got to build on something. Let's face it, 35-0. We knew this was going to be tough sledding anyway. You start practicing for next week. You're building your program that we talked about.
We mentioned that this past week having an early bye week was a great thing for them. We got new coaches, a lot of turnover last year in the player department. They used it, they said, as an extension of camp just to try to get better.
Yeah, I would have thought he said it was a disadvantage playing a team that had 2 games. He only had 1 game, and he said, man, we really need it, to the points that, you were talking about. And that, this Georgia State team, were they good enough to come in here and beat Penn State? No. But Penn State, they could beat themselves, and then if you have a good game by Georgia State, you're right into it. Well, that hasn't happened so far.
And he was honest with us, saying, look, man for man, we know that we're not as gifted as Penn State, but we're still going up there to try to win it. Nothing there from Taz Bateman. Elise?
Off of that, Brandon, that's exactly right. And going off of that, that's what head coach Sean Elliott told us, that he would tell his players, they put our cleats on just like we do. They put their pants on just like we do, strap up their helmets. We're going to have to be physical, smarter, and bust our butts and do the best we can to beat them. Look, we just have to play football and let the better team win. Brandon?
Kind of like the movie Hoosiers, when they went to Hinkle Fieldhouse and measured that the basketball goal was still 10 feet high. Say, hey, we put our pants on the same way they do. And I mean, if you're a head coach trying to come in here and pull off the stunner, you got to give your team something to believe in.
Yeah, right. They have to believe, because hypothetically, let's say that Penn State would have turned the ball, would have thrown the interception, would have been not sharp, would have been slopped around a lot of penalties. Then you put yourself in a position. Penn State's been pretty sharp tonight.
Very sharp. And don't forget, this Georgia State team last year, early in the season, went up to Camp Randall and led Wisconsin in the 4th quarter before the Badgers would come from behind to win it 23-17. And you mentioned they played Alabama a couple years ago, so they've been on this stage. Tonight, though, the stage has not been very kind. That's complete for a first down. That's the guy they want to go to, Penny Hart. 13-yard gain.
Grant Haley on the stop. First and 10.
Yeah, I think they're going to stay right with their game plan. You know, they're going to be no huddle, but they're going to use the clock, limit the number of reps or at-bats, to use a baseball term, that Penn State has. Because they got a lot of home run hitters over there.
Manning will keep it. Able to get to the 40, but just a 2-yard gain. It's Sharif Miller. Jordan also in there as well. There's Sharif Miller, redshirt sophomore from Philly. Was banged up in week 1, but had 2 sacks last week against Pitt, getting back to form.
Panthers 40-yard line.
I guess ideally, if you're Georgia State, you score a touchdown with all zeros on the clock. So that, like you said, Penn State doesn't get another at bat on offense. Pressure coming from Manning. Trying to set up that screen to Bateman, but incomplete.
Incomplete. Deflected by Ellison Jordan.
Ellison Jordan.
Yeah, they got the pressure coming again. They got the right play dialed up offensively, and
Penn State as well.
looks like the ball might have been tipped.
It was tipped indeed. Ellison Mason, he's one of the guys that is on the 3 deep. You know, Penn State, usually you get a 2 deep. They give you a 3 deep on both sides of the ball. And they've been playing 35, 40 players on defense in the first couple weeks. And Jordan's another one of those guys that, even though he's listed 3rd on the depth chart, he's getting some action. Manning, with pressure coming from the backside, is able to complete that to who else but Penny Hart.
When James Franklin took over this program, they had some depth problems at certain positions. Linebacker, if you can believe that, at Penn State, and offensive line. And now, after a couple of years, they're starting to feel real comfortable with the players they have at both those positions.
Feel like they're back to being linebacker U. Connor Manning has already thrown a couple of picks. The person that was the closest to was Grant Haley.
Yeah, you know, you have no chance on a takeoff route when the Grant Haley, in this case, the corner is deeper than your wide receiver.
Jonathan Affetti was that wide receiver. Just a frustrated look for Manning, for Sean Elliott. Mentioned that Sean Elliott came from South Carolina. Last 7 years as an assistant under Spurrier and then Will Muschamp. 8th play of the drive. Taz Bateman, flag late. But Bateman had nowhere to go.
Carry for the Panthers. Bowen had the stop for the Nittany Lions.
This is going to be a hold on Georgia State.
Holding against Georgia State initial indication.
You know, Brandon, I've coached some teams that you tried to build and you're mismatched, and here it is. It's 35-0 going to halftime. You get called for holding, and you say, "Fisher, come on, give me a chance.
Give me something,
know?
right?
Give me a little handicap here, you know."
Holding. Offense, number 70. Holding. Offense, number 75. That penalty's declined. 3rd down.
So James Franklin says he will not take the penalty.
Yeah, let's see him right in here. See him right there. Let's see if. Come on, let's check it out here. Come on. Yeah, he put him on. Give me a little break there, man.
Parker Cothram was the one who got thrown to the ground for Penn State. Clock started to wind on the ready. Here we go, and another flag. Swinging it out to Bateman. He has some blockers. And then a second flag comes in at the end of this. So there's just laundry all over the field recently.
Apke on the tackle.
Troy Apke had the stop for Penn State. As we are crawling slowly to halftime at our Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report. So 2 penalties, and both against Georgia State.
Yeah, when I was coaching and Honig was officiating a game like this, I'd say, "You guys getting paid by the flag or what?" I mean, come on now. Yeah. And I'm joking, but I'm not. That's what I'd say to him.
We're told in our ear by our producer Jim Ressler that Dick Honig is laughing back at the studio.
Well, when he was officiating for me, I didn't know he knew how to laugh.
Glenn Mason, who's 10 years head coach at Minnesota, and Dick Honig, 22 years as a Big Ten official, our rules analyst back in the studio in Chicago. Don Willard trying to get all this sorted out.
Illegal formation. Offense. That penalty's declined. Holding. Offense number 15. That penalty's enforced. 10 yards. Repeat third down.
Hey, I want to open Dick Honig's mic up. Do you have anything you want to say back to Coach Mason?
I should probably make a few comments, but he's probably right.
So the hold on this last play, and that sends Georgia State backwards.
Yeah, I agree with that one. 15 have him wrapped up pretty good.
Yeah, that's the receiver Todd Boyd out trying to block. Georgia State needs 17 yards, and Manning off target again. There was a lane there to find Penny Hart, but it was behind him.
Yeah, if there's one common denominator you hear of Manning, you'd say a lot of his passes, even the completions, are behind the receiver.
It's a kid who threw for over 9,400 yards in high school, second in Orange County history in California to USC's Matt Barkley. So he was very decorated out of high school, went to Utah. Things didn't work out there, so he transferred to Georgia State, struggling a little bit tonight on a big stage. Another low punt. Bouncing to Tompkins. Tompkins, who had a punt return for a touchdown week 1 against Akron. Not that time, though, getting it across the 35. With just 40 seconds left in the second quarter. Stay tuned. Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report coming up shortly from the Windy City.
Now, here's the dilemma that you have. You know, James Franklin and Joe Moore, they're on the sideline there. They've got a big lead. There's only 40 seconds left. But there isn't a better place to practice your 2-minute offense than right now than in game situations. So if they would happen to go to that, that's the reason behind it, because playing next week, they might need this situation.
For what it's worth, Georgia State will receive the ball in the third quarter. Big hole for Barkley. Big hole for Barkley to the 30. Saquon Barkley with a 33-yard carry. And a chance to practice that 2-minute offense here, Coach. McSorley to Barkley. And he steps out.
See, I think that this is excellent coaching. Watch him point. Block that guy, because here I come. He knew the guy had to be blocked, but I think this is excellent coaching by James Franklin and his staff to utilize this teaching moment.
Barkley 43 yards rushing and 142 yards receiving. He had the touchdown earlier on the reception of 85 yards. McSorley with all kinds of time in the vicinity of Deshaun Hamilton. Incomplete, no flag. It was DeAndre Applin on the coverage.
Yeah, that was good coverage on the fade route.
James Franklin pondering what to do here on 3rd and 6. Got a very good field goal kicker in Tyler Davis waiting in the wings. Caught right near the marker by Juwan Johnson. Where did he step out? They'll say a little shy of the line to gain. Penn State with a 1 timeout left and 14 seconds. And James Franklin is opting to send out the field goal unit. A few boo birds here from the 100,000 plus, but I think they're okay with a 35-0 lead.
Yeah, and there's 14 seconds left, you know. So typically if it's 4th and 1, you go through, you run the ball, then you have to call timeout. You're down to 10 seconds or less already. How could they boo that first half
Yeah,
of
there's
football?
really nothing to boo from 39 yards away. And a rare miss from Tyler Davis. 32 of 35 in his career on field goal attempts. And now 32 of 36. That's about the only thing that hasn't gone right for Penn State.
And again, that's a teaching moment. I mean, everything that happens out there.
So Penn State comes away with nothing as Tyler Davis yanks this one to the left.
The Panthers take over first and 10 at their 21.
He can't believe it. Just the fourth miss of the redshirt senior's career.
He can't believe it either.
I think he's going to keep that starting job, though. So one more play in the half. Taz Bateman gets the carry, and we will wind down to zeros on the Ryan Buchholz tackle. A dominant first half of football for the Nittany Lions. 5 touchdowns. They lead at 35-0 over Georgia State. Lease mentioned Brendan Mann being out of the game. That was not due to an injury. We did have Torrance Brown go down defensively for Penn State in that first half, and we have not been given an update on him. We just know that he was carted off the field and has not returned with that apparent knee injury. Silver lining for Georgia State somewhat as they receive the football to start the third quarter. But how about Sean Elliott's message saying, hey, we're just not doing things the right way?
Well, yeah, you know, it goes back to our discussion with him and the game plan. We're going to try to shorten an offense. They wanted Penn State to go the long route on defense. Don't beat yourself. Don't let them throw it behind you. And really, we talked about Penn State, big plays. Well, big plays good for one team is big plays bad for the other team.
So Connor Manning, you saw the numbers a moment ago, but struggled the first half with the interceptions, was off target on quite a few throws. Here it's a simple screen out to Hart. But Penny Hart did not have much room to operate. That'll go for no gain. 2nd and 10. Nice tackle by Jason Kabinda, the Mike linebacker.
Well, those bubble screen throws, they put a lot of pressure on the wideouts to block defensive backs. Penn State has good defensive backs. They're in rolled up coverage. Tough to gain yards there.
We didn't call Kabinda's name in that first half, but he and Allen, they say those are the two bell cows on defense for Brent Pry's crew. As once again they go back to Penny Hart on the 2nd down play.
Well, a little different here. They throw it to Penny Hart to the other side. Same type of play, except there's a soft corner. So when you have a soft corner to wide out, his block's a lot easier.
7 receptions, 56 yards for Penny Hart. Nobody else on the side of Georgia State has more than 3 catches. 3rd and short. They go with a bigger back. Kyler Neal. Oh, he just lowered the shoulder. Went right over Manny Bowen. Nice gain. 1st down.
Yeah, that was a good cutback, and he ran back, and there's going to be the unblocked defender. And who took it to who there?
You like the flowing locks of Kyler Neal, too, don't you, Coach?
I do.
They say he's not the best athlete, but he is a football player and a smart kid. A hard run there to get him to 1st and 10. Taz Bateman. Oh, if he had not been tripped up through the hole, he might have taken it the distance. Christian Campbell just got it.
Biggest mismatch they thought in this game would be on the lines, and they were really concerned about their offensive line versus the defensive front of Penn State, but on occasion they've really done a nice job.
Campbell just getting enough of Taz Bateman. 50 yards for Bateman on the ground and 15 carries. And here's carry number 16. That one's going to go backwards thanks to Sharif Miller. They love that he's just a sophomore. A bright future for Sharif Miller.
Yeah, when Miller comes in and makes a play like that in the backfield, he is unblocked. That's why the quarterback has the ability, has a play off of that where he can keep it and go out the backside, but he is an unblocked defender on purpose. If he closes like that, you have no chance.
He's a man that closes quickly.
Had 2 sacks against Pitt.
Mentioned the 23 tackles for a loss coming into this game for Penn State, being tops in the nation. They were 7th in that category last year. As this defense continues to find its way, but not there as the connection is made Manning to Todd Boyd.
Well, credit the Panthers there, because Penn State came with a full blitz. Watch it here. Coming with those linebackers right up the middle. Taz does a good job stepping up, picking the linebacker up. Receivers open, and this time Manning puts it right on the money.
11 yards for the first down. And limping off Marcus Allen. Mentioned that Torrance Brown went out earlier for Penn State.
You see Marcus Allen over there on the sideline. He's good-sized defensive back, 6'2", 207 pounds, playing safety.
And he and Kabinda, they are the heartbeat of that defense. Checking his nose, I said limped off. It looked like he was walking gingerly, but they're looking inside the face mask.
Did you ever get hit in the nose? It's hard to walk.
I did break my nose back in the day. Not on the football field, though. I told you I was a kicker. They didn't let me touch the ball. Manning. Incomplete. He's going the way of Todd Boyd once again. Troy Apke, you see him right there, number 28 on the coverage.
They have a number of players on the Panther team that he could have caught that, had it in his hands, that have 60-plus receptions in their career.
Boyd had 33 of them last year before he had a season-ending knee injury in week 10 of the season. They sputtered down the stretch last year. Trent Miles was fired after 4 years as the head coach of Georgia State. Now they're trying to pick up the pieces in 2017. Put all the eye candy to the left, and they threw it to the right for a short gain to Glenn Smith. That's the other playmaker alongside Penny Hart we haven't really been able to talk about much, is Glenn Smith. He gets a short catch there.
Hey, Grant Haley made a nice play there, nice tackle.
Well, Grant Haley will never have to buy lunch around these parts again for that blocked field goal return against Ohio State last year. I think that cemented his legacy at State College forever.
And I mentioned, I said, I turn your season around, and they pointed to how decimated they were. The overtime win against Minnesota and the following week beating Maryland was really a character check for that team.
That Minnesota game in week 5 is here comes the blitz, and the ball is out. Manning coughed it up as he was hit, and Penn State has the football.
The ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense. First down, Penn State.
Kenny Gibbons was the one who jumped on it.
Yeah, we talked to the keys to the game. How would Georgia State handle the pressure of Penn State? And at times they've done a pretty good job. At other times they haven't. You saw right there, Manning had no chance.
Shaka Toney, again, we discussed him earlier. He's listed as the 3rd string defensive end, but they roll him in a lot. Number 18. Got in there, jarred it loose. And now from their own 45, Penn State off play action. Gesicki. Pretty quiet night, a nice move there. He juked around Michael Shaw for a 6-yard gain. But for Gesicki, just his 2nd catch of the evening.
I keep mentioning it's such a weapon. You talk about a tight end, but when they split him out, the mismatch that he causes.
A slot left here. Toss to Barkley. That's why Sean Elliott says one guy just can't tackle Saquon Barkley. Eventually ran out by James Traylor.
He has such a low center of gravity, and then he's, as I mentioned on that opening kickoff return, he's got that ability not to slow down at all. and lower his pad level. Tough guy to block.
I want to go back to Gesicki again, who's had a quiet night. But when they do split him out, you're a Big Ten coach that's going to face him in a couple weeks, let's say. What do you do? Who do you put on him?
Well, you better roll somebody to him and have someone behind him. To think you're going to play man-to-man with him in a small corner, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's not going to work at all. Gesicki's too big, and McSorley, if he keeps it, he can dance around like he did right there and take it inside the 40.
Okay, that's why he's a good all-around player. We know he can run and catch. Watch this. I mean, that young man is strong.
Knocking back Chase Middleton, 240-pound linebacker, to open the hole for Trace McSorley. Fake the swing pass to Barkley, and he finds Saeed Blacknall. First catch of the night for the senior from New Jersey. First down, Penn State.
And you called it. The little pump fake to Barkley on the swing pass. You know that's going to draw a lot of attention by those defenders, and then here comes the slant behind him. It's like a play-action pass.
So was Blacknall the intended target the whole way?
Sure. Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about it.
Blacknall, I said first catch of the night. It's his first catch of the season. He had a great Big Ten championship game against Wisconsin, but has been quiet so far this year. Barkley taking McKindy Cherador for a little ride to the 15. Trace McSorley got in the mix as well.
Yes, certain guys you look at, you just say, that guy loves to play football. They all like it. Certain guys love it. But watch this. He just thinks he's down at the playground, and let's see if he comes back in there. Yeah, there he is. I'm going to play to the whistle just like everybody else, just like down at the playground.
McSorley pushing Barkley ahead like a big offensive lineman would. McSorley, by the way, approaching 300 yards. He has 285 and 3 touchdowns. And he wants to throw it here. And he's got his target, Brandon Polk. And on that pass, Trace McSorley hits 300 passing yards even for the day and now has 4 touchdowns. Penn State continues to roll. Trace McSorley continues to roll. On that last play, he found his old high school teammate. They played together at Blair Woods High in Ashburn, Virginia, and it carries over to State College tonight. I don't know if the Lions bored or if he or she's posing for the senior picture out there, but it's 42-0, whatever the case is. All Penn State.
I don't think the Lions bored. I think enjoying every minute.
It has been a fun offensive explosion to watch tonight for James Franklin's crew. Glenn Smith, he is going to get a chance to return this for the Panthers. And he's tripped up shy of the 20. Wednesday on a new Sports Light with Mike Hall. Mike gets some much-needed dance lessons. Much-needed dance lessons from members of the Rutgers football team. It's unbuttoned, unscripted, unfiltered. Sports Light with Mike Hall Wednesday at 11 Eastern right here on BTN. Mike's a great guy, but I don't know that I want to see him dancing. But I have to tune in because it's going to be funny.
He's a funny guy. He's a real funny guy.
In a previous episode, he was going through possible touchdown celebrations with Trace McSorley because McSorley, as we saw going to break, always acts like he's hitting the home run out of the ballpark with a baseball bat. And the offensive coordinator Joe Moorhead told us, he told he and Gesicki and the other guys on offense, hey, football's fun. Have fun. Come up with a celebration. And McSorley does that. Gesicki's got his own as this pass may be picked. And it is. Intercepted by Tariq Castro Fields, and Manning's day just getting worse. That's his third interception, Coach.
Yeah, this is awful well played. I mean, a fade route, and he rides with him, and then you see he rolls and gets his head back to the backfield, sees the throw, goes and intercepts at its highest point. Things are getting worse for Georgia State.
On the other sideline, reigning Big Ten Coach of the Year, James Franklin, loved it. Fake the give to Mark Allen. And then they will swing it out to Tommy Stevens. There's the backup quarterback again. How about the power he showed?
This play is amazing because you see what happens. You got Stevens in the game. He fakes the dive. He fakes to him. He fakes back over the middle, and then he comes back to him. I mean, I'd be dizzy playing defense trying to figure out where that ball's going.
That's a special package for Tommy Stevens, redshirt sophomore backup QB from Indianapolis. Against Akron, they lined him up at quarterback, in the slot at running back. He had a touchdown earlier in this game receiving. Mark Allen getting the call. Takes it to the 25 before he's tackled by Brian Williams. And, you know, if you're James Franklin, do you even bother putting Saquon Barkley back in this game?
Not me. He'd be on the sideline, and I'd go with the other guys. And it's a long season. Low snap, but Stevens has the wherewithal to get the ball. And he handled it cleanly, even though it was a low snap, so it wasn't a rushed handoff.
So McSorley and Barkley on the bench, enjoying the cushion. And a chance for Tommy Stevens to take the snaps. And a chance for Tommy Stevens to throw. He's got to tuck it. And he just tries to sling it away at the last second.
Looked like it went backwards to me, which would be a lateral.
And that's exactly what they signaled.
Ruin the field is a backward pass, out of bounds, third down.
Good catch.
Yeah, he's lucky this made it out of bounds because
Second down.
definitely a backward pass.
Had it stayed, you're right, would have been fair game and a fumble.
Never been able to figure out what all those signs are.
Everybody does that now, though. Mark Allen in the backfield again. Deep ball. Oh, it's caught in the end zone by Saeed Blacknall. 35-yard strike from Tommy Stevens.
Takes as he throws that ball. Wow. Now that shows a coach something when a guy will stand in there and throw the ball in the money like that when he knows he's going to catch it right in the chops as he lets it go. Very impressive.
McKinley Cherador popped him, but he held in, threw the ball perfectly to Saeed Blacknall. And for Blacknall, the senior, his first touchdown reception of 2017, and it was right on the money. Look at this. Read that bottom line. No touchdown receptions entering tonight from these wide receivers. Well, Hamilton, Polk, Blacknall all getting into the action against Georgia State.
I think they might have seen some of our graphics as use it as a motivator tonight. Just a matter of time. Talented.
Tommy Stevens, backup quarterback, the one who threw the beautiful ball to Blacknall on the last play. And this one's going to go out of bounds on the kick. But if that's the only thing that goes wrong for Penn State tonight, I think they'll be okay with it.
Free kick out of bounds. Kicking team. Ball be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
Georgia State down 49-0, and great crowd, great night here. New quarterback coming in, Aaron Winchester, will take over for Connor Manning after his struggles. What were you telling me during the break about the library here, by the way?
I went to a function for the Penn State Library last night. They asked me to show up, and one of the guys there said, Coach, you got to make sure you stay on air. Everybody know that there's more students here at Penn State enter their library here on campus than any other library at any other Big Ten school.
Except when the football team's playing. I don't think any of them are in the library. In fact, when this stadium is full, it's the third largest city in Pennsylvania, just here at Beaver Stadium, behind Philadelphia and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, well, he was very proud of the library, and he should be, and he put the full court pressure on me, and now I'm off the hook.
You did your job.
Watch out what you promise before you know what it is. But no, I was glad to do that. They're great academic institution, great library, great people.
Attendance right around 102,000 tonight, which is right around the size of Allentown, PA. So maybe it was close tonight, whether it was the third or fourth largest city in the state with the crowd that they had. Play clock winding down. Winchester, design run. Stringing it out to the outside. That Penn State defense pursuing. Aaron Monroe, the one to drag him down to the ground. Associated Press top 10. That's what's gone on so far here in week 3.
Yes. So far, not many surprises, not much movement. They might as well, if that continues like this, just put last week's up and let's wait for the next week.
All chalk. 7 through 10 won, 1 through 6 leading. James Franklin, 45 years old. 4th year here after the 3 years at Vanderbilt. Winchester off the roll to Penny Hartman. He dropped it. Didn't have it long enough, and then he got hit by Aaron Monroe. Incomplete.
What's your biggest surprise so far today? Biggest surprise in college football?
Honestly, I would say Nebraska.
I knew you'd say that. My biggest surprise is Missouri. Losing the way they did to Purdue, and Purdue's making me a believer. Jeff Brom just doing a fantastic job. Not that I'm not surprised about the Husker score, too.
Yeah, I thought they would win that one, but 35-3, you're right, they beat Missouri. Now they've got Michigan coming into West Lafayette next week, and that should be a heck of a game. Tompkins is going to take this off a couple of bounces. Mentioned he had the punt return for a touchdown against Akron. He's not going to return it all the way, but he will take it into plus territory across midfield. $3.50, and they pour that ice cream in the cup or cone. Oh, what? Didn't know they were going to show Elise and I last night. Yes, we were sharing.
I heard Elise went back for seconds, though. Is that true? That's unbelievable. No one's ever done that, ever. She went back for seconds.
Elise and I actually went both Thursday night and last night. Elise, I think you went chocolate chip cookie dough both nights, didn't you?
Both nights. I had to go for the chocolate chip cookie dough. And you know, Glenn, if I could have gone back for seconds, I would have. I'm not going to lie, it's that good.
Trace McSorley, his day is over, watching from the sidelines. So the deal at the Berkey Creamery, and if you're ever at University Park here on Pitt State's campus, you have to go. It's excellent. But they don't let you mix flavors. They say only one person they have allowed to mix flavors there over the years, and that was President Bill Clinton. I tried last night.
I know you did.
I tried.
And you failed.
But I had it. Didn't you think I had a great plan? I said I'm going to order two things, one thing that sounds like another. So they put in the scoop of chocolate chip cookie dough. I was like, no, I wanted chocolate chip, sea salt, caramel. Go ahead and just add it on there. But they didn't bite. They didn't bite. Incomplete on the attempted pass to Brandon Polk from Tommy Stevens.
Everybody's got a plan until it doesn't work.
The kid putting the ice cream in, initially he was about ready to do it, but then a senior stepped in. It's like, no, rookie, we can't mix flavors here.
Huh.
But the Berkey Creamery, if you're ever here, check it out. It is fantastic.
I bet if Barkley goes there tonight, wants 2 dips, different stuff he's going to get.
You think so?
Yep.
I don't know. If Bill Clinton's the only one to achieve it, well, maybe. Barkley, one of 7 different guys to score and get to the end zone tonight for Penn State. Stevens throwing it to Miles Sanders. Tailback incomplete, so that'll bring up 4th down.
Yeah, I know it was 3rd down and 10, but I'm half surprised the way that contain broke down there, that Stevens just didn't pull the ball down and run, because he had lots of green grass in front of him.
McSorley over 300 yards for the 6th time in his Penn State career, 4 touchdowns. And mistake-free football for him. Because Stevens, like you were talking about, the backup, he can run it. He has that ability, like McSorley, to take off. But he didn't tuck it and run. He threw incomplete, and now that play clock is going to hit zeros before they snap this, and they're going to get a delay of game.
Delay game. Offense. Correction. Delay game. Offense. Penalties decline. 4th down.
So with 3:17 left in the 3rd, the penalty is declined by Georgia State. And Blake Gilligan end over end trying to pin the Panthers deep. And it checks up nicely. Down right around the 10-yard line. 49-0 Nittany Lions. And this is a place to go if you want to talk food. Tuesday on an all-new Campus Eats. Troy Johnson and Jenny Dell search for Big Ten's best comfort food. Catch a brand new Campus Eats presented by Eat Street Tuesday at 10 Eastern right here on BTN. After the nice punt by Gilligan, Georgia State still sitting on 0. We'll start this drive deep in their own territory. Still backup quarterback Aaron Winchester in relief of Connor Manning, the starter, who had a tough day throwing 3 interceptions here at Beaver Stadium. And a give to Taz Bateman for a small gain. And now for today's Eat Street fastest delivery, we focus in on Saquon Barkley. Pretty good evening for him.
Yeah, big plays. You know, you looked at it, they didn't really have to grind much out. They got big plays. When you look at the whole night, you know, where they had 111 yards rushing until 111 yards rushing, you would think that this mismatch, that there would have been more rushing. There would have been a lot of grinding out, 8-9 yards of carry rather than the big plays.
Surprised then, I guess, that they went a little bit more to the air attack here, as that play is sniffed out for nothing.
Well, you know, you go into a game like this, and you knew that Georgia State was going to be committed to stop the run. You know, not that you can't move the ball, but it's still a game of numbers. If they have more hats in there that you can block, then you go someplace else. And when that happens and you execute, you have a chance for big plays. And that was the result of tonight.
Big plays all around, and Sean Elliott was very disappointed at halftime, as Elise told us, with giving up all of those big plays on the side of Georgia State. Not much more resistance here in the 3rd quarter. Winchester taking off and diving forward for the 1st down. Nice effort by Aaron Winchester, the redshirt sophomore from Lawrenceville, Georgia.
Yeah, a little surprised that he didn't go feet first so he doesn't get clobbered like that. You can do that now in, you know, college football, and you can see a result that the defense of Penn State lost contain. A lot of people think the only way you lose contain is outside. There they had pressure outside, and he pulled the ball down. There's no push in the middle. Thus, you lost contain.
Georgia State says they have kind of 2 systems with Connor Manning. They've got the spread in there, and then the zone read type looks with Winchester. That time a handoff to Taz Bateman. Nice spin move by Mr. Bateman.
Yeah, look at that. Pretty good.
Right around Jarvis Miller, who was hoping to hit him in the backfield. Inside of 40 seconds left in the third quarter. Winchester again not seeing anything downfield, so he tucks and runs to the sideline.
Another case, good protection by the Panthers up front. Nittany Lions lose contained. He pulls the ball down and heads to the sideline and gets the first down.
52-0 win in week 1 over Akron. Last week beating Pittsburgh 33-14. And Coach Franklin told us, you know, if there's one thing I want, it's for us to not only start strong but finish strong and have that killer instinct. He felt like maybe they lacked that late in the Pitt game, but I don't think they've lacked that here so far tonight.
No, they sure haven't.
That's the end of the third quarter. Timeout.
The killer instinct in full force. 7 touchdowns from 7 different Nittany Lions. The street from Beaver Stadium, Pagula Ice Arena. Very good hockey team, up-and-coming program. Second newest NCAA hockey team, and they were ranked one in the country at some point last year, so they are certainly building something special across the street.
And a hot ticket. I'm told you can't get a ticket for those games. Sold out all the time.
And a beautiful, beautiful facility. Put a lot of money into that. Taz Bateman, this is his 20th carry of the game, taking it out near midfield. Nick Scott with the tackle. Game summary. I guess the score pretty much tells you the summary, but you mentioned it. Not a lot of rushing yards for Penn State. 344 passing yards.
No, but you know, you look at there, right there, you can't overcome that. But I would have thought that Penn State would have rushed for more than 111 yards with this type of lopsided score.
Nice hole again. Well, one bright spot has been Taz Bateman. Once again, Nick Scott with the tackle. Going back to that win last week over Pittsburgh, 33-14. You know, you said something to James Franklin in our meeting. You thought that the box score was a little deceptive from that game.
Yeah, I use one of my favorite saying that, you know, figures lie and liars figure, you know, and I said I looked at the box score. I said I couldn't figure out the final score. Possession time, yards on the ground, all that kind of stuff. And he went through and gave a detailed explanation of, you know, we had that game in control, but, you know, we felt like we took the foot off the accelerator a little bit. We can't do that. To your point, we just got to keep going.
Yeah, he wants to see that killer instinct for 4 quarters, and certainly they've had it through 3 quarters so far tonight.
Even the possession time, I said it's hard to figure out. You talk about control, but if you sack somebody 5 times and 9 tackles for a loss, you don't feel that they're moving their chains and possessing the ball. It was a weird one for me to figure out.
It was. That Penn State offense struck so quickly last week that every time you turn around, it seemed like they had a big play, and it's similar to tonight. They're not milking 15-play drives. They can come at you in a hurry. A little speed option left. Pitching it out to Bateman as he gets his 22nd carry now before being brought down by the linebacker Cooper.
Yeah, he's had a good night. If there's, you know, you always look at players that kind of jump off the field at you, that, you know, catch your attention. We talked about a bunch of them for Penn State. But number 8, Taz Bateman, has caught my eye. Good football player.
Bateman missed last year with a knee injury. They were very excited to have him back. A key piece, obviously, to this offense that has sputtered. He's really been the lone bright spot here this evening. 3rd and 7. Back to Bateman, able to stay on his feet and pick up the yardage needed. Another nice run.
And again, you know, he's running through there and he's not getting touched. He gets the second level, so credit that offensive line. Good job. You know, the thing about it, you saw the defensive end from the backside slant, and he got cut off. When his tackle guy next to him, he's slanting the other way, there's going to be a big hole. When you're slanting and you're trying to beat that tackle, you cannot get cut off.
He's at 94 yards right now as Taz Bateman. Can't quite get to 100 on that carry. Another thing that James Franklin told us, and you kind of hit on it earlier, Coach, was last year so many people talking about the end of the season Ohio State game, but he said Minnesota. He said last year does not happen with that Week 5 win over Minnesota in overtime. Actually trailed by 10 at halftime of that game. Came back to win it in OT, and then everything turned around. They had so many injuries going into and out of that game, but they band together. The team chemistry, he said, never got stronger. Or got ever stronger, I should say, as Winchester's dropped by Yetur Gross-Matos, one of the up-and-comers.
Yeah, to your point, what he made is he said, we're decimated with injuries. We're struggling. There's a lot of noise outside. We're losing by 10 points to a team that won 9 football games last year, a good football team, and how we came back in overtime, and how can you forget the run in overtime by Barkley for the touchdown?
Because the week before that, they got clobbered at Michigan 49-10, and they were really struggling on both sides of the football last year. But then, lo and behold, beat Minnesota, go on to win the Big Ten title before losing to USC in the Rose Bowl, and that's going to be a fumble. The ball was out of the hands of Winchester. Penn State football, 5 turnovers for the Panthers of Georgia State. Daniel Joseph knocked it free.
Moving on the field is the fumble recovered by the defense. First down, Penn State. Timeout.
Another look. And the ball popped out. Gross-Matos jumps on it. Nittany Lion ball. We do here in overtime. This time it's Barkley. Cutting inside. Barkley touchdown.
What a great comeback victory by Penn State.
That was the game from a year ago that James Franklin said really turned things around, that overtime win over Minnesota.
Great run, great comeback, great call by the announcer. Who would that be?
I don't know. Never heard of him, never met him. No, that was a fun one. Chuck Long and I were here for that game last year. And now happy to be here alongside Glenn Mason, Elise Miniker downstairs. I'm Brandon Gaudin as play continues. Penn State taking back over on offense with a Saeed Blacknall completion. And Monday night, BTN continues the anniversary celebration with a look at the most exciting plays, highlights, and moments from the 09-10 season. Don't miss BTN 10 Big Years, presented by Auto Owners Insurance, Monday, 7:30 Eastern, right here on BTN.
10 years, who'd have thunk it, huh?
And what a successful run it's been. Keeping it on the option. And then running into the official at the 50.
He didn't run in the umpire. He ran him over.
Tommy Stevens on the read
For
option.
one play, his helmet came off.
And he ran right over the umpire, Jeff Carr. He couldn't get out of the way.
Come on, Jeff. Dangerous in there. He was trying to get out of the way. Yeah.
Oh, poor Jeff Carr. Remy Lazarus, the defender for Georgia State at the end, just chucked him to the side after the great run by Tommy Stevens, and now Stevens dumping it underneath. Or it's Billy Fessler, I should say, the third-string quarterback who was out there on that last go instead of Tommy Stevens. Now Stevens returns.
Well, they're emptying the bench here. Here we go, little lefty action. I thought maybe Stevens could throw with both hands, but no, it's Billy. Billy, who helped invent that home run swing.
Yeah, Billy Fessler and Trace McSorley. That, you're right, the baseball home run swing touchdown celebration. It's Fessler who lobs the ball in the air, and then McSorley hits it out of the park. Andre Robinson with a good amount of running room. Andre Robinson all the way to the end zone for a Penn State touchdown. And Robinson becomes the 8th different Nittany Lion to find the end zone tonight. Diversity abound.
Defense of the Panthers, they just got to be worn out. Overmatched, and been a long night.
Tyler Davis adds one more. 41 yards around the edge for the redshirt sophomore Andre Robinson. 56 to zip. It's a jump around about tonight in Happy Valley. 56 to nothing. 8:55 left in the fourth quarter. The Bears repeating that 8 different Nittany Lions have found the end zone. Talking about all the weapons that they have on offense, and that has been on full display so far in this one. Low line drive taken by Glenn Smith. And he won't be able to get it back to the 20. One thing that Penn State is doing this year that they haven't done in the past, they're wearing new fitness trackers. Elise, I need you to help me out on this. What are they called?
Oh, I can do that, Brandon. They're called the Whoops, but these are performance watches. And what they do is they tell the players everything from how much stress they have throughout the day to hydration to sleep. So these players, they'll go to bed at night. This is linked up to an app. They wear them 24/7. And the app then tells them, based on a color-coded system, how well they slept. Red, not good. Green, good. Yellow, okay. The players say they love how technology is giving them an edge. They say sometimes they'll go to bed at night thinking they got a good night's sleep, and well, they look at the app and they didn't. So, guys, I think after a night like this, like I said, I think they'll sleep just fine, and these watches will prove it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, like you said, the coaches, they can check those and tell, hey, wait, you didn't go to bed till 4 in the morning. What happened last night? But, yeah, I think they're going to sleep okay this evening. Another example of science creeping into sport that we're seeing more and more these days.
Brandon, I have to say that my favorite thing that James Franklin said about the watches is that his face pops up on them when he sees that these guys are staying up too late. And then he said, no, just kidding. That doesn't really happen. Would you guys wear a watch with my face on it?
You want me to be honest, or you want me to lie? Of course I would, Elise.
I want
of
the
course.
honest answer. I don't know if I would.
And I would encrust it in gold as well. I want you to know.
I'm sure you would.
Georgia State right now just hoping that they can get this 0 off the scoreboard. That time Penny Hart with a carry around the end. James Franklin mentioned that 45 years old, the 3 years at Vanderbilt now in his 4th season at Penn State, and the turnaround from the beginning of last year to now, it just, Penn State football is back.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what this does, a game like this, he is able to play so many players in this game that work hard in practice. Their morale goes up, they'll come to practice next week. They have a big game next week, and they'll come with a different attitude to film sessions tomorrow, practice next week, ready to go, because they had a little taste of playing.
That big game you referenced next week at Iowa to start Big Ten play, and then they'll come back home against Indiana 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, Iowa struggled today and then poured it on at the end. But, you know, Kinnick Stadium, hard place to play.
And they're looking for revenge, the Hawkeyes from last year.
And you know, Kirk Ferentz over his whole tenure there has had pretty good success against Penn State.
A little bit of a high snap, but no problem as it gets away. And Mark Allen tracks it down. Watch out. Watch out. Here come flags. I think we're going to have a block in the back on Garrett Taylor. Don Willard tracking down the call with 6:41 left in the 4th.
During the return, illegal block in the back.
Oh, yeah.
Receiving team number 17. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, timeout.
And it was on Garrett Taylor, but everything else going good for Penn State. TN is brought to you in part by State Farm, here to help life go right. And by Eat Street, the smartest shortcut between hungry and happy. Nice shot of the old main building here at University Park. nighttime in a very happy Valley. 56-0. All Nittany Lions, 6:41 to play. And it is the third-string quarterback, Fessler, that is back out there. Handing it off to Nick Urey, first carry of the redshirt freshman's career. And he gets it out to the right side for a 3-yard gain. So as you said, a chance for James Franklin to empty the bench, get all those guys out there that don't normally see the green grass of the playing field.
And here's the problem for Georgia State. These guys, they've been waiting to play, and they're fresh, and they're trying to show the coaches, hey, I can play too. I want more playing time. So sometimes it gets worse when you put the substitutions in.
That's a good point. They're hungry. This time it's Mark Allen. Across the 40. Friday, Big Ten Elite chronicles the 2016 Penn State football team's remarkable run to the Big Ten Championship. You won't want to miss this look back at the season. No Nittany Lion fan will soon forget. Big Ten Elite 2016 Penn State football premieres Friday at 7 Eastern right here on BTN.
A lot of smiles on that sideline over there.
They can enjoy this one. Rest tomorrow and come in Monday and get ready to rock and roll for Iowa next week. The southpaw. Incomplete out of the hand of Fessler. Trying to find Cody Hodgins. Hodgins, another guy that doesn't get a lot of time. Graduate student. Couldn't haul it in. Brings up a 4th down, and Penn State will punt. What's the number one thing if you're Iowa and their coaching staff watching this film that you have to, the number one thing that you have to try to do next week?
You know, sometimes you say key on Barkley. Some way you have to contain Barkley. You cannot let him get the big plays that he got tonight.
He got big one starting early in the first quarter with an 85-yard touchdown reception. Punt inside the 15, down there with 5:11 remaining. A lot of numbers for Penn State to be happy about. 360 passing yards. 8 different guys have scored a touchdown. You're +5 in turnovers. All good things for the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, you played your starters just a little more than a half.
Welcome those of you who were watching Northwestern and Bowling Green from Evanston for the final 5:11 here in State College. Bateman getting to the outside. He's over 100 yards in this game carrying the football. That's the one bright spot that Georgia State has had. Saquon Barkley getting some words with his head coach, James Franklin. As you said, a well-rested Saquon Barkley after just playing the first 2 quarters in this one.
Hey, let's not minimize that. Taz Bateman going over 100 yards against Penn State. Credit him, credit that offensive line. That's a heck of a job.
27 carries, 105 to be precise for Bateman. Why not give it back to him? But maybe that time he didn't want it. Emmanuel Ike coming through and dropping him for a loss. And that's the 9th tackle for a loss tonight for Penn State.
Then you got to block him. You know, that's the a lot of times you talk about the lookout block on pass protection, but that right guard, you let that guy right in there. He came in with an attitude.
And that's a redshirt sophomore defensive tackle who's looking for more playing time. Speaking of those guys that are trying to earn their stripes, so to speak. Third and 9. Winchester. And he's going to get a first down out of this to Ari Wertz, a tight end that they speak highly about, but that's his first reception of the evening. Very versatile. They like to split him out at times, and here he moves the chains. Keeping it around the edge. Nice little run here for Aaron Winchester. So he's getting some expanded time in relief of Connor Manning, who threw the 3 picks earlier in this game.
Now, if you're Brent Pry, the defensive coordinator for Penn State, he's on the sideline. He's telling guys, if these guys ever expect to see the fielding in there, they give our shutout up now, they're not going to like next week. Put you in there, expect you to play.
Penn State defense that has allowed just 1 touchdown so far this season. Shut out Akron. Gave up 1 touchdown last week against Pitt. Did the defense, although Pitt had 14 points in the game. The other touchdown was not against this side of the football. Tonight after our game, Dave, Mike Hall, Jerry, and Howard will get you caught up on everything that's happened around the conference. The final drive presented by Auto Owners Insurance right after our game on BTN. Stick around for that.
See, they lost contain again. I could just read James Franklin's mind on the sideline. You've got to keep that quarterback in the pocket.
He's much more mobile than his predecessor, Connor Manning. Out of the 49, he was able to escape the pocket there, but not much. Brent Pry, 4th-year defensive coordinator. He and the rest of the crew, we mentioned they'll take their talents west to Iowa next week, then back home against Indiana, then to Northwestern, and after all that, Coach, they'll get a bye, but they'll get tested these next few weeks.
Yeah, they will. As you mentioned, Iowa started slow, and then Indiana. It looks like maybe that Pat Fitzgerald solved some of the problems that he had up there in Evanston today.
A big 49-7 win over Bowling Green. Winchester again. Flag on the back end of this play as Winchester runs out of bounds.
It's a contained problem again.
You're right, this defense, you know they want to keep that a 0 and get the shutout.
Holding. Defense number 38. That 10-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the run. First down.
So a penalty on Lamont Wade. And Georgia State getting closer and closer to that end zone as the ball will now be inside the 25 at the 22.
Moving the ball to the 22 and Penn State 1st and 10 for the Panthers.
As Heisman candidate Saquon Barkley continues to enjoy things from the sideline, and also enjoying the taste of that mouthpiece, apparently. A pitch out to Bateman. Flag on this play as well. Bateman was dancing along the sideline, close to stepping out. This looks to be a hold on Georgia State.
Holding. Offense number 12. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Remains first down.
Well, let's take a look at it right here. Oh, yeah, man. You got your hands around the back of 51, grabbing them. That's a good call by the official.
That was Amir Scaife holding Alex Gellerstedt. But Sean Elliott and his Panthers just looking for anything positive to take back home to Atlanta. Taking the give. But that one is going nowhere in a hurry. Aaron Winchester is brought down. John Pertrisham was in there. Number 16. Nice play.
There's a lot of guys playing tonight for the Nittany. The only guy that didn't get in on defense is the Lion. He was down there rested, and otherwise I'd have put him in.
I mentioned John Pertrisham, number 16. Also need to give love to number 51, Jason Varanick, who was in on that tackle.
Varanick lost contain a couple of times. He needed to make a play.
Here comes some pressure. And another tackle for a loss for this Penn State defense, trying to preserve that shutout.
Winchester to carry.
Antonio Shelton, Daniel Joseph combining on that tackle. And now they're 30 seconds away from shutting out Georgia State in the first ever meeting between these two schools. But Penn State, the big play tonight, that's what hurt the Panthers. 250 yards on the 8 touchdown plays by the Nittany Lions tonight. It was big play after big play. Speaking of big plays, oh, what a hit. John Pertwisham, we called his number a moment ago. Big hit on a Fetty there.
They're still playing. Puts the ball right in the goal.
Credit Jonathan Affetti, though. He popped right back up.
Fans don't like this.
They're going to go for the field goal. James Franklin doesn't like it either. Brandon Wright is going to try to end the shutout right here. And a timeout was called.
Prior to the snap, charge timeout, Penn State. The 30-second timeout. Please reset the game clock to 11 seconds.
Well, I've never seen icing a kicker in a 56-0 game, but I think we just saw it.
7 minutes to go, third quarter. USC 13.
And the shake of the head. I think it's safe to say that James Franklin disapproves of the field goal attempt coming up from Georgia State. Well, as a former coach, what do you think here on both sides of the ball?
I got to be honest with you, there were many times I was ahead 56-0. If I was, I didn't care what they did, you know. No, I always thought I'm going to run my team, do the best things I think for my team, let the other guy do. Maybe he thinks, Coach Elliott thinks that, you know, not getting shutouts going to help him down the road. If so, so be it.
And the kick is no good. Brandon Wright pushes it, and the shutout is preserved for Penn State. A happy James Franklin.
Maybe he gets a free cone at the creamery if there's a shutout. You never know.
Over at the Murky Creamery. Hey, they've got that ice cream up here in the press box. Small samples. I'm taking about 6 as I'm on my way out the door.
Now will he take the knee or will he throw one down?
Oh, boy.
I mean, come on. No, he'll take the knee.
I think you take the knee. Take the high road. And it will indeed be a knee from Fessler to run out the final seconds. No problem for number 5 Penn State. They roll over the Panthers of Georgia State 56-0.
Well, you know, you look at this game and obviously it was a domination by Penn State. And you asked me before, you look at it and you say, okay, what would you want to, do better? It's picking, but they lost contain a few times, but you have to look long and hard to come to criticism of this effort today.
8 different guys scored a touchdown for Penn State, and on those 8 touchdown plays, 250 yards for Penn State. Explosive, 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 and that defense has now just allowed 1 touchdown in 3 games against Akron, Pittsburgh, and now Georgia State.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, when you look at them, when you say they're an attacking 4-3 defense, that's an understatement. They're buckled up and come after you.
And right now, Elise is with Coach James Franklin.
Thanks, Brandon. Coach, in a game like this, you were able to get a lot of players involved. 8 different players scored touchdowns. What does a game like this do for your confidence?
Well, it's just really good to continue to build depth. We've got a lot of guys, some quality time in game. So, just great for us to continue to build depth.
Going into today, you told us that every day you work on developing championship habits. So what did you guys develop today?
Well, I was just pleased. We played a complete game, all 3 phases. Thought we could have ran the ball a little bit better on offense, but we were able to get Saquon involved in the passing game. So I was really pleased. Special teams, defense, offense. We're playing really good on the defensive side of the ball right now.
A little frustrated with that last play of the game?
No, I get it. I get it. I'm worried about my team.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Let's go back upstairs.
Thank you very much, Elise. A happy James Franklin has his 5th-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions off to a 3-0 start, winning it 56-0, and that will do it from State College. For Elise Miniker downstairs and Glenn Mason and I, Brandon Gautin, up here in the booth, it's time to send you to Chicago, to our studio for the final drive. Dave, Mike, Jerry, and Howard, they are standing by. Good night from Penn State.